show is all about driver health and wellness. So my next guest I've had on before, Hope Zavara. She is a yoga and lifestyle expert, a motivational speaker, and CEO of Mother Trucker Yoga. She also created Stiff, STIFF, Mother Trucker Pain Relief Cream. She works with truck drivers and trucking companies, leading the way in merging health, fitness, and trucking with simple changes drivers can do right from the cab of their truck. She's been recently featured in Forbes and Yahoo News and dozens of podcasts and radio shows. And Hope believes that every truck driver can feel better wherever they are with small, simple changes. We'll ask her about that. Welcome back, Hope, to the Women in Trucking Show.
Thank you so much, Ellen, for having me on, and everyone listening. Thanks for tuning in today.
Well, and it was great seeing you at the Accelerate conference this week. So I hope you had a good show.
Well, that was my first time there. And Ellen, I just have to say that the vibe of the entire show is exceptional. Everyone that I met was talking about just how every person that was there, primarily women, everyone was so kind, so supportive, so uplifting. There was no like, oh, I'm a CEO or I'm a driver, we can't talk. Like, it was so refreshing just to see this like even playing field of collaboration and just community. Blown away by it. Absolutely blown away. I will definitely be back next year.
Good. And I've always said that, you go to other conferences and it's like, oh boy, insurance, driver shortages, fuel prices, woe is me. But there's such a positive attitude at the Women in Trucking Accelerate conference because it's more like, hey, let's change the world. Right?
Yeah. Together. Yeah.
Yes. So talk about Mother Trucker Yoga. How did you start combining yoga and trucking?
Yeah, for those of you that have never met me or listened to me before, I did not get my start in trucking. People always ask me if I'm a driver. I am not. My husband has a CDL, but he uses it more on the construction side, big, heavy equipment and things like that. And when I was in the yoga space, I really found yoga because I was struggling. I was struggling with addiction, anxiety, depression, and all the other options and solutions out there just weren't working for me. And yoga really gave me hope that I could live a happy, healthy, normal life, whatever you want to call that. And slowly I was able to get into recovery and really experience life in a totally different way. And I started with a yoga studio and then a state-approved vocational school here in Wisconsin. And then I started doing wellness programming for companies like Harley Davidson. I did some work with Kohl's. And so just really doing that, but always looking for I didn't think that was where I belonged. I felt like I was meant for something more. I felt like there was a group of people out there that really were meant for me to work with. I come from a blue-collar family. And then one day at a local business mixer in my small hometown here in Wisconsin, I met a guy. I am married, but I met a guy and we start talking and I'm trying to talk to him about corporate wellness. And he looks at me and says, do you have anything for truck drivers? Like in the cab of the truck? And I think I'm funny sometimes and threw up my hands and said, Mother Trucker Yoga. Really, Ellen, just trying to get a rise out of this guy, just trying to make a slightly awkward conversation a little bit more fun and upbeat. He looks at me and says, that's brilliant. You want to go into business together? The next morning he called me up. 4 months later, we built a business from scratch, we meaning me. And a year later, I bought him out of the business. In the last 7 years, I've helped tens of thousands of truck drivers in various capacities change lanes in their health and wellness with small, simple changes.
That's amazing. That is truly amazing because who would have thought that yoga and trucking, because you think of these big burly drivers, people have this misconception and but what do you think keeps drivers from taking care of their health? Why do we have such an unhealthy population of drivers?
I think it's a couple of things. I think for a lot of the drivers coming in, it's sometimes their background. They may not have been exposed to health. They might not have been exposed to, healthy foods or self-care. That might have just not been the culture that they've come from, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think another part is it is a really hard job. You don't get to go home and go stop by Sendik's or Whole Foods or the grocery store and pick up healthy things and have all the amenities that you want at your home. They're very limited in space, limited in resources. And I mean, I know and trucking is an incredibly exhausting profession. And at the end of a driver's day, all the drivers over the years now I've talked to, they're tired. And there's not like anyone sitting next to them saying, hey, we should go for a walk. You should go to the gym. You should do some yoga. Like it's them. There's that solitude piece. And so anxiety, depression, loneliness, there's so many other things that they're facing, I think, that are keeping them or creating a barrier for them to really acknowledge health. But the last piece is, I believe that many of the people still approaching health, even outside of trucking, are approaching health and wellness in what I call this box mentality. Like, here I'm going to exercise. Let me take my exercise box out of the closet, and for 30 minutes I'm going to exercise and then put it back and never do it again. Or here I'm going to take my supplements out of my closet and take them, and then I'm not going to do anything else. And for me, what I call lifestyle wellness is really about bridging that gap and filling the small pockets of time throughout the day with one move. Like, I'm not really teaching drivers Warrior 2 or how to stand on their head, but rather, hey, you have 30 seconds. How about doing this quick stretch? You're at a stoplight. How about we do this one quick thing in the driver's seat? You're filling up with fuel. Like, hey, let's just try this one quick exercise. You're doing your pre-trip check. Why don't you take just 2 or 3 extra laps around your truck to get those extra steps in? It's really only going to take you probably 5 minutes. And by the end of the day, you have maybe moved more by 5, 10, 15, 20, even 30 minutes by never actually exercising.
Because people think it's all or nothing, right? Like, I've got to set time aside. Yeah. Well, and driving is exhausting. And at the end of, 11 hours, behind the wheel, who wants to get out and walk 32 times around the truck to do a mile, right?
100%. But if you break that down, and maybe when you're on your 30-minute break, or you're filling up with fuel before you get in the truck for the morning, when you park for the night, if you just do 1 or 2 laps, that's already almost a half a mile. And it doesn't feel like much in the moment. And I think that's where some people, it's kind of like in your head a little bit, like, well, this isn't doing anything. But if you do that every single day for a year, like, that's a lot of extra steps. If you just do 2 or 3 stretches in the morning when you get up, like, that's going to make a huge difference in how you feel throughout the day for, years to come. But that's not really the conversation around exercise, fitness, and health. Even outside of trucking, it's go hard, push hard, these extreme programs. And I'm just telling drivers, hey, one move is yoga, one vegetable counts, 1 bottle of water if you haven't drank water in years. Like, that is a start, and that is enough for today.
Small steps.
Yeah,
I've got Hope Sabara.
Celebrating those.
Oh, yeah. And you are such a positive person, too. And so was Steve Kane. He said you're a good friend of his as well. So he's a fan of yours.
Oh, likewise.
I've got Hope Sabara. She is the CEO of Mother Trucker Yoga. Hope, I have about 2 minutes before we have to take a break, but would you talk about the stiff pain relief cream that you invented?
Yes. And so I created a pain relief cream after years of working in the health and wellness field and using everybody else's stuff. And I always had a disclaimer, Ellen, like, that smells bad, but it works. Or, there's a lot of chemicals in that, so you can decide, or this one's sticky, or this one will stay in your clothes. And I thought one day, I kind of created this laundry list of things I wanted and didn't want. And one day I'm going to create my own. Well, an opportunity came around right around 2019, and I created a pain relief cream called Stiff Mother Trucker. Now, a year ago, we rebranded to Road Relief Wellness and expanded our product line by about 14 different products. And we'll be in TA Petro in 2025. We're very excited. But if you've just got a pain in your neck, a pain in your back, a pain in your butt, I can't help you with maybe a family member or your boss, but I could help you with physical pain. Could be a great alternative for you. And we have a great rapport with drivers. Again, our new name is called Road Relief Wellness, but it's definitely worth a shot. We have some great testimonials from drivers.
That's amazing. So let's start the conversation about Accelerate this week. But I'm going to have to take a break in about a minute. But you were at the WIT Accelerate conference. Why were you there? What did you do? And what was the response? I know we talked about it a little at the beginning, but just talk more about your booth.
Yeah. So I was there. Actually, Carlene, that works in Women in Trucking, called me up a few weeks before the event and said, hey, we've been tossing around the idea of adding a little movement into the event. What are your thoughts? And so I did a little presentation on Monday, in the expo hall on the 4 basic movements every person needs to do to age healthy. And then I did a few stretches on the morning of the last day, right before the last keynote, to showcase to everybody there what they could do to take better care of their body as they have been walking and sitting all of the last 3 days. And now we're going to go get on a plane or in a car. And Ellen, it was so well received. It was so great to see all these women in the ballroom during the last keynote, just laughing and really feeling what one stretch, one move could do for their body in just a few minutes. That to me is like, just amazing.
That's amazing. Thank you for doing that. Let's take a break. When we come back, Hope, I want you to talk more about how things for drivers and some of the easy changes. So don't go away. We'll be right back after these messages. All right. So we're talking about driver health and wellness today. And my guest for this segment is Hope Zavara. And you can find her at mothertruckeryoga.com. So Hope, we talked a little bit about the Accelerate conference and what you did there. Anything else you want to add before I ask you the next question?
One last thing about Accelerate. If you're listening and you've never been and you've thought about it, one, I got to say all the vendors are amazing. They had this really great little map that you had to cross off all the booths if you met them. And then you got in for some absolute amazing prizes. Ellen, I've never seen prizes like this given away in my life. But if you're also just looking for a real sense of community with like-minded people, you absolutely have to attend.
It really is. It really is a different atmosphere. And to have over 2,000 attendees, 85% women, which is great.
Which is amazing. I love it. I love it.
Okay. So something that drivers can do today, reduce pain and improve their health today.
Well, first things first, start drinking water. I'm not saying go and do 180 ounces. That's going to be overkill for your body, especially if you've never been drinking water. But when you're dehydrated, and most drivers will say they're living on the verge of dehydration, your tissues get really sticky and really stiff, and your nerve endings that are kind of weaving between all of your tissues get kind of impacted or pinched down, and that can cause unnecessary pain. So my suggestion to drivers is always, if you're worried about stopping for bathroom breaks, before you go to bed at night, put a bottle of water next to your bed. And when you wake up and sit up, don't even think, just grab the bottle of water and chug. Just drink it. And by the time you do your pre-trip check, you go to the bathroom, you do all the things, you're going to have to go relieve yourself, and you're going to be good for the morning. And you're starting out the morning hydrated, mental focus. Your muscles are going to be happy. Your digestive system's going to be happy. So, which kind of feels like an opposite thing to do when we're talking about pain, but dehydration is highly connected to that. The second thing is you have to move your body. You have to move your body in multiples of ways. We are not designed to sit and be sedentary. That's not how the human body is designed. So my suggestion to you, if you're listening to this today, is while you're in the driver's seat, think about pointing and flexing your ankles. Think about lifting and lowering your leg up off the seat, rolling your shoulders, 5, 10, 15, 100 times backwards and then forwards again. These tiny little movements, although they seem really silly and it's insignificant, increase blood flow, help with improve lymphatic drainage, are going to help create more elasticity in the body, and yes, are going to reduce pain.
Could you go back on the hydration? And I want you to just talk about why it's water and not Gatorade or soft drinks and things like that. Coffee. I mean, I know coffee is a dehydrator. So talk a little bit about why it's water.
Yeah. So one thing great about water, and to those of you listening too, you can add a little Celtic sea salt in or a little lemon because it acts as a conductor for your cells so that water can penetrate your cells. So just drinking straight water, although it's great, it acts as more of a cleanser than actually a hydrator. So I have a little teeny bottle of Celtic sea salt, not table salt, but Celtic sea salt, just a little pinch in there. It'll give you all the minerals that you need for the day. And if you like a little flavor, a little lemon or something like that. But the reason why water and not coffee or Gatorade, well, first of all, flip over the bottle of Gatorade. Although it's electrolytes in there, there's so many other things in there that your body doesn't need. All of the dyes, all of the chemicals, you don't need all of that in your body, and it's really creating more problems than what it's worth. Some people will say, well, I don't like the taste of water. Well, I also don't like the taste of chemotherapy or radiation. I don't like the taste of antibiotics. I mean, take your pick, Ellen. And so sometimes we do have to do things that we don't like, but guess what? The healthier that we become, the more we start to do things like drink water, eat healthier foods, we actually start to crave them and our taste buds change. But water is an essential nutrient for the body. We're 85% water. Our brain needs hydration. Our brain needs water. If you get that weird, midday brain fog where your eyes start to kind of drift off and you can't think clearly, that also can be a sign of dehydration. If you start to get this weird tension in your head and you can't seem to figure out what's going on, that can be a sign of dehydration. Muscle cramps in the calves, that can be a sign of dehydration. There are other minerals and things too that can be the culprit, but if you're not a water drinker, I would go there first.
And that's a simple step. I mean, just replace your soda with water, or even one a day. So, Hope, what's something, or what makes Mother Trucker Yoga different than other options? I mean, I've got other guests on here today talking about driver health and wellness. What makes you different?
Is that everything that I teach drivers is practical. Everything that I'm teaching drivers is broken down into small, simple steps. I've been talking about this for 20 years, and a few other people, have caught on and they're using some of this language. But really, everything that I'm teaching for truck drivers has nothing to do with big, elaborate programs. I'm not advertising weight loss, because when you make healthy changes, weight loss is actually a side effect of those changes. And when we just focus on weight loss, oftentimes we aren't fixing the real problems. And so that's really the biggest difference for Mother Trucker Yoga. And the second one is, I have a whole mindfulness component in this. I mean, I studied mindfulness and meditation and yoga for almost 20 years. And so that piece is very, very much needed for drivers that are living such a high stressed, anxiety-ridden lifestyle that many of them don't even realize it. And so that breathing, that mindfulness, the ability to kind of focus the mind and relax the body is sometimes even more important than any type of exercise that you can possibly do. We want to get out of what's called the sympathetic nervous system, or that fight or flight space, and really get us into rest and digest, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. And this is just important for anybody, truck driver or not. And sometimes when we're going to extreme exercise or really high intensity exercise right away, you're actually doing more harm than good to your nervous system. And so I really try to look at the drivers that I work with from a holistic, WHOLE, holistic standpoint, and trying to really focus on what I call lifestyle wellness rather than an exercise program.
And it makes so much sense. And you've got so many resources on your website. You've got a blog, you've got videos. You want to just mention some of the things that you have on your website, mothertruckeryoga.com?
Yeah. So if you're kind of on the fence and you're not sure who is this Hope Zavara person, what is this Mother Trucker Yoga? Head on over to our site, mothertruckeryoga.com. We have an amazing blog. I probably writing. I love writing. It's a gift of mine. And so we try to post about 1 to 2 blogs a week, all geared towards driver health and fitness. And then we also have some podcast episodes on there. We have videos on there. We have a bunch of free resources, free programs that you can take. All of our past 25 days of Christmas, every year I do a little video each day through Christmas, and all of our past seasons are on there. I think I have 5 of them. So you can engage in any of those at any time and start changing lanes in your health and fitness today. You don't need a program. You don't need a trainer. You don't need a guru. You just have to decide that you are worth it. And we would love to be along for the ride with you.
Amazing. And you have a book, Trucking Yoga, so it illustrates the yoga moves on there. So I hope everyone checks out the website, mothertruckeryoga.com. Couple minutes left, Hope. What's next for you and Mother Trucker Yoga?
Yes. So I am very excited. About a year and a half ago, I've been working on a healthcare and wellness option for the trucking industry. I partnered with a doctor out of Arkansas. And we're really excited because, this is maybe another episode. The telehealth, although maybe a really good idea, but the telehealth approach to health is a little broken and disjointed. And so we are able to offer direct primary care and virtual primary care. What that means is one doctor, your doctor, accessible to you 24/7, and our wellness programming with Mother Trucker Yoga, all under one roof, insured and non-insured individuals and companies, And the great thing about how we package this is we can save companies about 50% on their healthcare. And we're working right now with a couple of trucking companies, onboarding them here before the end of the year. But I'm just really excited about this. This is something I tried working on when I first entered into the industry 7 years ago. And insurance companies laughed at me and they were like, there's no way anyone would ever care about wellness programming in the insurance world for trucking. And I'm just really excited that we are able to create something where, again, it's patient focused, it's relationship building, a direct relationship with your pharmacist, medications you can get across the country, but also our unique approach. We're really looking at the driver and saying, are you over medicated? Prescribing things like drinking water, exercise, prescribing also holistically to the driver, not just medically. And I think this approach for trucking is much needed, and it's been really well received, and I'm really excited to see where this goes.
Wow, that is amazing. And you're right.
I'm very excited, Ellen.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So I love your passion, Hope. I just love everything on your website. I mean, you even have camo truck shirts and things like that. So kind of cool. I want to thank you for coming on the show. And anytime you have something new coming up, just let me know. We'll get you back on to talk about it and let our listeners know about it.
Absolutely. Ellen, thank you so much. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll leave you with this. Your health matters. Today is the day to start something new. Your health matters. It only takes small, simple changes, and you can make a difference. Your health matters. It matters today. It matters tomorrow. It matters all the days to come. Let's make some changes today because your health matters.
Awesome. Hope Sabara, mothertruckeryoga.com.